I think what makes Orchard unique, me being there, I mean, besides there's a great staff in there, a lot of young people, which is dope. I'm very big on young people who's very determined to do something, and they call me OG. Hey man, I was thinking about doing this. I'm doing this. This is that. I think that's dope about the Orchard. One thing that's dope about the Orchard is they have a lot of young people working there, but the uniqueness of the Orchard to me is the partnerships. Like they don't have whack partnerships. Like a lot of the partners there, from Remus to G59 to even Joyner Lucas being on artist services, being on the artist services side, Georgia Smith, like it is worldly at that company. Like it's country, it's rap, it's R&B, it's pretty much, I think every format is covered at the Orchard when it comes to sales. And I just think that's so dope. Like I love looking at the charts every morning and just seeing a record that's top 5 and I don't even know it. And the first thing I got to do is go listen to it. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know all this was going on. And then it's not even a format I'm working, but for me, it's a learning. Is a great thing to learn. You know what I mean? So I just think Orchard is just unique and we're the only ones. There's people that's doing the same thing we're doing, but to that magnitude of how we're doing it, and we got offices all across the world. We're a global company, global distribution, and I just think that I learned something from record companies years ago that the bottom line was always sales. So where the magnitude of the Orchard is as far as sales go and the amount of DSPs they deal with, I just think it's just dope. Like how far this thing has came from the day I walked in '96 to where we at today and where it's going to go down the line. So for me, what's next exciting that I'm very super excited about is this next Saba album. Saba from the private collections of Saba and No I.D. You just Google No I.D. if you don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, this guy's beats and production and his track record and what he's done to this culture and what he's contributed to it. When I heard that he was going to produce the album from top to bottom and they've been working together, I was so excited to go listen to this album. And it didn't, I was not let down, not one bit. And it's the album, it just goes in different directions, soulful, bars. He goes left, singing, different beats on top of different beats on one record. Like, I think that's dope. I'm super excited about this next Saba album coming. Saba was already in the Orchard system, putting out music. And I just, honestly, I didn't know much about him myself. That's why I actually called you. Like, when I heard that the new album was being partnered up with No I.D., I was like, oh, this is going in a different direction. And they was like, yeah, you should go out and listen to it. So I went to LA the first time, which was about a couple months back. And they played me the album, and I'm like, if you know who No I.D. is, you know who he is. There's nothing to question on that guy. From me listening to Saba before and then listening to him now with No I.D., you could just tell they both on a game. Like, it's special, man, because I've always said our hip hop classics, at least 8 out of 10 hip hop classics can be one producer and one artist. And I can name you all 8 of those albums. And when I say hip hop classics, that means a classic between what the producer did with the album and what the artist did with that producer and that album. So for me to see this Saba wave right now, and I'm in the middle of it, and I'm like, damn, like, and even yesterday we had another session, and he's playing us more records. Like I think they recorded so many records. They're trying to figure out what records are gonna go on the album. And I'm asking, yo, what happened to the record from the last session? Oh, we don't know what we're gonna do with it yet. And I'm like, come on, man. And it was like, yeah, we don't, we trying to figure it out. But it's just dope, that chemistry. And they both from Chicago, and they both, they both very well respected. And I just think it kind of reminds me of if I had to put one together of how I seen this before was when Common and Kanye did that album together. But this is it reminds me of that energy, but I think this is 2024 different level. You know what I mean? my advice to young artists is if you're gonna if you're gonna make music, make the best music possible because you don't get a second chance at a first impression. I learned that a long time ago. If you keep putting out music just to put it out and see what people think, and if it's just okay, mediocre, or you're not getting opinions from other people, or you just may not be ready, just know the more music you drop, the more whack you start to look to people. So make sure that whatever you put out is the best thing you've made at that moment that you want. You know, it's like a great dish. You just want to serve it and make sure people eat well and talk about it when they leave the house. So I look at music in the same perspective, like just make the best music possible. As a young artist, you know, I think you just look at, oh, it's the computer. I could just say this, I could say that, and it's going to go. Yeah, lightning does strike every once in a while, but the reality is to make the best piece of art you can make. And then eventually it's going to lead you to where you got to go. I think in this game you have to have a proper mindset, and when I say that, I really put balance into that. You know, we know what goes on in the business in the office. We know personally, besides the office, I don't stop working after 6. I'm 24/7 with it. I'm staying on top of the culture and things that's going on, but it's important to have a balance in your life, and I always look for my balance outside of my house. Outside of work, pardon me. You know, whether it's getting into sports or getting into bowling or getting into activities with my family, or really, honestly, I live in Puerto Rico too, so I'm back and forth between New York and Puerto Rico, and nothing makes me happier to go back to the island and be with my mother out there and my family. I have a humongous family. My mother has 16 brothers and sisters. My father had 12, and we're all in the same town. So the amount of cousins and family members I have out there is ridiculous. So for me, that's really my balance. I'm a simple person. I don't try to look for too much craziness or go outside of things that I can't feel I can't handle, but I want to have fun with my life. And I think as long as I have fun doing things outside of work and then what I do with work, if I can mesh them both together, eventually it puts my mind in a better space. And it's important for me to be in a great mental space when you're working in this music business, because it'll bring you down. It'll drag you down. For me to protect my energy, it's not that hard. I just don't tolerate the bullshit. When I say that, I don't say that I don't. Well, not every situation works the same way, but it's like somebody always comes to complain to you. I always say, well, what's the answer to the problem? What's your answer to the problem? I don't have one, so then why are you complaining? I don't tolerate the bullshit. Like I think that comes with age. I didn't see so much. I truly believe that you can figure it out and get out of your situation and move on to the next. Some people can't move on to the next situation. We talked about that over the weekend, and I just think that eventually you're going to get stuck in a bad place and you might not be able to come back from that. So for me to stay away from the bullshit is important. I have zero tolerance for it. My thing is to get to it. Let's if we at a party, the whole thing is let's make sure we have the best party possible. Everybody get home safe. In between that, all the little spats and stuff like that, we don't need that. But I treat that the same way if that's going to work. If we're in a meeting, let's get to what we got here for. Let's not dwell on what went bad or, why we shouldn't do this again. Let's figure out what's the next and be great at it. You know what I'm saying? My advice to a young executive that wants to be in this music business is don't get into the music business thinking I'm going to make money. I think get into the music business because you have a passion to be in it and you feel like you could contribute to it and change something in it and be great at it. The money's going to come. If you're great at something, the money's going to come. And I don't just say that in the music business. I say that if you're a mechanic, like if you're good at building engines or you think you know how to work an engine, be great at it. You know what I'm saying? And eventually the money's going to come. These are opportunities that could last you 30, 40 years. And, you could level up and be in a space you never thought you was going to be in. And that's where I'm at. So I never thought I was going to be in this space. when I was a kid. I just gradually got there. I failed, bust my ass, fell on the floor, got back up again, made money, lost money, made money, lost money. Then eventually I just had to figure out, how do I keep it where even as I have a bad week or a bad month, I still have money there sitting. How do I pretty much, let me make sure I put money away so when I have them rainy days, I'm sitting there, I ain't got to worry about my utility bill that comes on time, and I can focus on my next project that I'm going to work on to bring money back in. So that would be my thought on it. I think in this music business, people think failure is bad. And it could be if you don't know what you're doing, or it could be you're not thick-skinned. You know what I'm saying? I think there's nothing wrong with asking people for advice. If somebody's willing to give it to you, you should take it. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't know the knowledge at the end of it, or know anything about it. So I didn't fail 1,000 times. I didn't been on the unemployment line. I didn't, gotten back in. I didn't, when I was at my worst, I just told y'all a story that changed my whole entire life. So for me, I just never gave up. I fell, got right back up, kept walking again, figured out the next move, fell, got back up, and at the end of the day, I don't know what business in this world doesn't fail, and you have to figure out how to get back in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't just be the music business. I mean, I haven't worked everywhere in my life, but I'm sure every other business goes through their own problems and their own bad timings and stuff like that. So that's how I look at it. What's up, man? It's Money Nels, and I am a culture builder. Psh.